I'd like to begin our practice today with a sentiment of metta. Metta is loving kindness. It's one of the four limitless qualities that we are encouraged to cultivate as Buddhist practitioners. And for those of you who practice with me regularly, you know that I paint these little cards. This one's really fun because you see this blue um, piece right there, and it's really thick. It's actually the cap, the dried paint from the cap that had a little bit of paint on it, so it stuck like glue, and I had to add it to it. But this one reads, "May you find strength. May you find strength." Friends, on Wednesdays, we have been exploring for a long time now this book, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. This is the work of Shantideva, an 8th century monk, Buddhist monk. And we are on chapter 8, which is the development of concentration. And I'm not going to read anything directly from the book today because I want to pick up from where we left off last week. I think it is such an important thing to talk about and to continue practicing. What Shantideva was sharing that we touched into last week, is our attachment to the body. And these verses in this book read like a very, very long poem, and I read several of them last week. And he can be kind of cynical. He can, if I can put his words into a more contemporary format, when I read Shantideva, I often hear things like, "Dude, yo, uh, yikes. What's up with all your attachment to your body? Dude, why are you clinging so tightly? Yo, what's up with this incessant thinking of the perfect body form, yada da, yada da." So those are my interpretations of Shantideva. I know it's highly audacious of me to do that, and there it is. We just did it. I just did it. And I'd like all of us to do that. I'd like all of us to have that level of courage and confidence to be able to read these ancient writings and question them or hear them in a more contemporary voice. I mean, the reality is, friends, here is this ancient wisdom from the 8th century. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. It was 1200 years after the Buddha, and here we are that many years later. And the wisdom is still alive. And this wisdom is still relevant. We're still having conversations about it. We're still being really, really human. So let's get into it. Let's get into the attachment of the body. And we're going to do a very special reflection. And this is a meditation on the body using the three main ideas of Buddhism, which is I am of the nature to grow old, I am of the nature to be sick, and I am of the nature to die. So we're going to use each of those things as it comes into our own body. And it is no accident that we have this sentiment of metta, may I find strength to do this practice, because it's not an easy one. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I would encourage you to find a posture in your body where you can feel at ease. So if your body wants to lie down, please lie down. If your body wants to sit in a chair all slouchy, please do. If your body has zero interest in stillness, then go ahead and get up and move. Just turn your camera off if you're online. Have my voice be in the background, cook some lunch, bake a cake, go for a walk, whatever you need to do. And then arrive. Arrive to your body, arrive to your mind, arrive to your heart. Not carrying, if you can, what happened earlier in the day. Just see if you can arrive in this moment. See if you can shake the etch-a-sketch of your being, swipe the magnadoodle of your mind, clear the slate, and just be here. In the section that I read last week, the cultivation of concentration and really looking at our attachment to the body and so on, Shantideva was a little admonishing non-monastic people, I think, because he was kind of sarcastic, at least that's how it read to me, about people having attachments and attractions to other human bodies. These bodies that are going to get old, and these bodies that are going to get sick, and these bodies that are going to die and decay and so on. And gross. Why are you so hung up on that? Why are you so attached to it? And he's not wrong. And so this is an invitation for us in this moment to just invite a question. What is my relationship to my body? What are some of the stories I've been repeating over and over about my body? Now, word of caution. This can be deeply stirring. Deeply stirring. And so be gentle. Be really gentle. If the invitation to examine what is my relationship to my body starts to activate things that you're not ready to explore, you're not ready to examine, then don't. You can pivot and ask a different question. And in fact, I would encourage you to do that anyway. Use the question, what is the relationship to my body, as a source of inspiration to ignite your own wisdom. What is it asking of you? What do you want to know? What is your relationship to becoming sick? Do you have any fears? Are you someone who is heavily defended? Oh no, I don't have any fears at all. I'm not scared of death. Nope, not me. I'm all good. I'm ready to go any day. Okay, I believe you. No, I don't. I would find it much more sincere to hear things like, wow, I've never thought about that before. Or, wow, I find that really difficult to consider. I don't want to think about that. That's much more honest. Or, I have a lot of fear. What are the stories you're telling? We're all here because we have negative habit energy. Some of that negative habit energy has come in the form of toxins that the body has dealt with. It has ingested, it has been harmed by, it has healed from. this body temple of ours is a faithful, merciful companion. Let me say that again. This body temple of ours is a faithful, merciful companion. It can take a lot. And it is always endeavoring to promote healing and health. Even when it's sick, even when something has entered the body, there are systems immediately activated to fight that illness. A bacteria comes in and you've got cells in your body that know how to go on the attack. You have awarenesses in the body that might bring to your attention, oh, wow, I feel awful and I need help. So you bring yourself to professionals who know how to heal the body. Naturopaths, nurse practitioners, physicians, emergency rooms, and so on. It really helps me, anyway, to think about how my body has always been on my side, you know? My body has its own back. It has taken care of this crazy mind of mine and this emotional heart of mine and this wild spirit of mine. And as I've aged, I feel a keener sensitivity to wanting to take better care of it. Not to improve my good looks, not to suddenly be on the cover of magazines or any of those superficial materialistic expressions, but to improve the quality of my life, the quality of my movement, the quality of my breath, the quality of my presence. That is the motivation for me to better caretake and care give my body. Because I know I'm going to one day have to encounter a sickness that will test me and it will test my practice. Furthermore, I know my body and I are going to encounter other people in my life who are sick. And their sicknesses may scare me and make me want to retreat. And so I want to invite the question, what do I think about becoming sick? So that I can always offer my presence with sincerity, even in situations that scare me. I am of the nature to grow old. The decade of my 40s was defined by a cancer journey that one of my children had to endure. And because of that, I went to a lot of funerals of little kids. And one of the greatest teachings I was given, because I was grieving terribly, these 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 6-month-olds and so on, how gypped they were of their lives. And I met a mother who told me something I will never forget. She said, "Julia, no, my daughter lived her whole life." And her daughter was 7 years old. That was her whole life. And she lived it. And so what I took from that was, wow, to be able to live a moment longer than 7 years is a gift. To be able to live longer than 20 years, 30 years. For me, I'm 60 years old. Not everybody gets to my age. And so I'm here today knowing that I will continue to get older as other people have not been able to. And therefore, my life right now is so precious. My life has always been precious, but now I feel it more pristinely. I feel an invitation to not squander my life because I'm afraid of what could happen. We are all here today, and it is such a gift. And maybe you're someone who has struggled with feeling that. Maybe your life has been conditions where being here is a chore. Being here is a burden. You know, there are a lot of people who live their days that way, where being alive is no great thing. It's really, really hard. And I just want to say to anyone who is holding that and carrying that weight, that's heroic. To be here for 1 minute more, to show up to this meeting, to prioritize this time of reflection. It's amazing, and I thank you for it. I am of the nature to die, friends, and so are you. None of us knows when, none of us knows how. It's the great mystery we are all destined to do. That's the amazing thing. And it's humbling to me to think about how much time I have wasted, truly, thinking about stuff that is never guaranteed. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Am I going to go on that trip? Am I going to have this house? Am I going to look this way? Am I going to have how many kids? And blah, 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 blah. And the one thing I am for sure going to do is the one thing I don't look at. I don't want to. And yet, when I do, rather than filling me with a spirit that is morose and dark and gloomy, it has instead informed the brightness of my life. It's made my interactions with other people so much more tender. It's motivated me to connect to people, to not squander my moments. I'm willing to bet that all of us here today have heard some version of this, but I'm not speaking to your mind. I'm speaking to the heart. I'm speaking to that place of limitless compassion. The space within you and the space within me that is fearless. That can go to the edge of everything I know and stare out into complete uncertainty and be still. I am of the nature to experience ill health. I am of the nature to age, and I am of the nature to die. All of these things, all of these natures inform my precious human life. I am the caregiver of my body. I am the creator of my perspectives. I am the storyteller. I am the driver of my life. So this is an invitation to really look deeply, not in a clinging way, not in a holding on to this precious life, but instead in a softer way, in a reverent way. During my daughter's journey, I met a man who was dying of a similar leukemia. He was an adult. And one of the things he shared with me was a saying that I really love. And it goes like this. When you come to the edge of all you have ever known in your life and you stare out into the abyss, faith, in the Buddhist word confidence, is one of two things. When you take your next step, you will either have something to land on or you will be taught to fly. And I found that such a relief. I don't have to cling. I don't have to hold on to old stories. I just have to live my life with reverence, joy, wonder. Easier said than done, which is why, friends, this is a practice. Breathing in strength to look deeply. Breathing out presence. Breathing in strength. Breathing out presence. All right, tomorrow, 10:30 in the morning, we meet and we're going to begin a brand new month of exploration. For the month of April in the Spokane Sangha, we are going to be exploring the fourth noble truth. There is a path. There are things that we can do to help support our understanding of comfort and discomfort. There's a path. There are things that we can do and understand to support the conditions of our lives. There's a way, a path, 8 different concepts that we can explore to help bring in a little bit of harmony right beside the misery. And that is the Noble Eightfold Path. That is the way. We're not going to get into the specifics of that because that's what's the rest of the year. We'll go into each of those noble qualities. But for this month, we're just going to talk about it in more of a general sense. And how can we learn these? How can we bring those aspects into our lives, breathe them into life? And everybody is invited to do it differently. Like each of us here, there's 29 people here online, which means there's 29 different ways to live this path. Isn't that exciting? And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in Soul Center, which means there's 8 different ways to breathe life to the Noble Eightfold Path. We're all here to be our own expression of this wisdom. And that takes courage and strength, which is why we have to keep practicing. Lo has posted the link to Soul Center, so you can check out our meetings Monday through Friday. You can check out our recordings as well. You can check out the events that we've got coming up on Saturday. We've got a class all about sugar. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about sugar and your body's reaction and need for sugars, join us. We're going to have a nutritionist guiding us through that. Mondays, we have a special meditation offering at 8:30 in the morning for an hour. It's called Monday Morning Meditation, and this is all about addressing spiritual, mental, physical well-being. For the month of April, we're going to be working with doubt and insecurity. So if that's something that interests you, you can read all about it and register for that. If you can't make it, but you'd like to have the audio recordings, those are also available as well. Email me with any questions, thoughts, concerns. And from there, let's end our practice today with a dedication of merit. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. What's coming alive for me in this moment as a way to dedicate this practice to our efforts here today, to the merit of the efforts of being here today, as well as extending that out into the world, is a single word, and that is the word surprise. May you be surprised by your own magnificence. May you be surprised by the brightness of the light within, ready to guide your way. May you be surprised by the hidden miracle awaiting your gentle touch. May you be surprised, maybe even to hear that you already know what to do. May you be surprised by the many small wonders constantly trying to grab your attention. May you be surprised by your own smile and sparkling eyes. May you have the courage to share that with the rest of us and with the world. And may you know that because of you, you probably just saved someone's life. I want to thank you for your time here today, for the courtesy of your attention, for your precious, precious lives. Have a beautiful afternoon. We'll see you next time. Namaste.